Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Halayim Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Achak Quadash, double honors to the apostles, the elders, that great millstone, who taught us the truth. Honors and salutations to all sincere Akim, throughout the four corners of the earth, laboring in honesty, sincerity, charity, and sound doctrine. And to the dead that died doing the work of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because they shall rise first. And to the Akwathium that believe on the true name of the Father and the Son, which the Father's name is Yahweh, he exists. And the Son's name is Yahweh Shai, he is the deliverer. Because he's coming to deliver us out of this captivity that we're in. Alright, and this is part 2 of the series that, Yahweh Shai put on my heart to, to honor the famous men that's in Israel and Yasharala. Why? Because they're about to be exposed again. The Lord, he hides his men in plain sight. And you got to be careful of how you deal with the Lord's men. Because, you don't want to offend none of them. Because it ain't about how that man feels. It's all about how Yahweh Bashim Yahushua feels at the end of the day. All right? And the Lord is showing who his men are, slowly but surely, in Yasharala. Okay? So, just remember famous men, and remember what those brothers were, what they were blessed with. After, going over the scriptures and all that, and being a part of the scriptures and all that, and believing in the scriptures wholeheartedly. Not just, I read it, and yeah, I'm going to check this and that. No. You have to believe in it, man. You have to be humble, man. Because at the end of the day, it's all the Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bahashem Racha Quadash. All right? But, this is, Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 45, starting at verse 1. It says, and he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of the Most High, and men, whose memorial was blessed. So what the Lord going to do, man, right now, man? He's going to bring, I'm going to read this again. It says, and he brought out of him a merciful man. So you have to be merciful. All right? And that's talking to the elect. You have to be merciful. Because brothers fail to realize that. They always want to point the finger at him. He did it. He did this. He did that. He did this. What did you do? You can't come to a council or anything unless you're blameless. All right? Or point out anything like that, man. And if you do something like that, man, you better make sure you 100% on point, man. That you're not in the wrong with anything. Make sure that you're not wrong in anything. Make sure that you're on point with everything. And don't be no talebearer. All right? I'm going to read that again. This is Sirach, chapter 45 and 1. It says, and he brought out of him a merciful man. So a merciful man is a person that's going to have mercy on you. Not just going to be like, oh, nah, man, you know what, he did this, I don't agree with that, whatever. You have to have mercy on your brother. Straight up. All right? It says, which found favor in the sight of all flesh. So you find favor in the sight of all flesh. That means all flesh is seeing you like, yo, I don't see nothing wrong with this guy. Even among elders, the only people that's going to have a fault with you or talk crazy about you is the ones that their spirit is just off. If you're doing the will of Yahweh Shemi Shah, just like a Pontius Pilate, he ain't found no fault in Yahweh Shah. None at all. He found no fault in Yahweh Shah. All right? And that was our adversaries in that time period. That's why you have to remember famous men amongst Israel, because these men that we're speaking about, they're still relevant to this day. Okay? It says, even Moses, beloved of the Most High, and men whose memorial is blessed, he made him like to the glorious saints. It says, to the glorious saints, and magnify him so that his enemies stood in fear of him. So if you please the Lord, man, that's why I told you, if it be at all possible, live peaceable amongst all men. He said he's going to make your enemies your footstool. All right? He said he's going to make your enemies your footstool. All right? And that's what the Lord is going to do again. He's going to make our enemies our footstool. But we have to do we have to do his work. And the reason why, the Spirit, just moving on me the way it is to remember the famous men that's in the scriptures. All right? Remember these famous men that's in these scriptures. For what reason? Because they went through what we're going through right now. All right? And I'm just talking to the elect. If you're not a part of that number, hey, it's up to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Racha, Quadash. It's not up to me. We just set up here to be vessels. All right? It says, verse 3 says, by his words he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings, and gave him a commandment for his people, and shewed him part of his glory. All right? So he did all these things, man. He gave him all those, man. All right? I'm going to read that again. Verse 3, it says, by his words he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings, and gave him a commandment for his people, and he shewed him part of his glory. All right? So what the Lord do now, man? He gives it to his prophets. He gives it to his prophets to bring out these words that come straight out the scriptures. All right? That's what he does. Give out his word. He said, matter of fact, it says what was written aforetime is for our learning and our understanding. And also it tells you that, the prophets prophesied against great men. Against great kingdoms, so to speak. Roughly paraphrasing. And I probably jacked that up. But that's what, that's what the Lord gave us, to prophesy against those places. And amongst kings is like you got your mayors and all that. Like, I ain't even gonna mention no names, but I'm gonna just say to give a testimony of what I've heard from another elder, that a mayor basically commended them for doing the works, commended them for doing the works of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So I'm going to read this again, man. It says, by his words, he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings. So he made him glorious in the sight of kings. All right? What's the sight of kings? Like the people looking down on everything now. You have your Trumps. Look at this guy. Um, um, Salaki. The Pharaoh back in Moses' time, because that's what we're talking about. Moses. He was glorious in his sight, man. You know? And Moses came up with that guy. You know? Moses came up with him, so he knew, like, yo, Moses, man, he changed. That's what basically he was saying. He changed on me. I thought he was me. I thought he believed in what I believe in. But even though, you know what I'm saying, that Moses, what you would call, changed on him, he was telling the truth. And that's why he was found in the way he was found. All right? It says, and gave him a commandment for his people and shewed him part of his glory. So he showed Moses part of his glory, like, yo, you gonna lead your people out of Egypt into the promised land, you know? You gonna lead these people out of this. And he just showed him part of what he was gonna do, because Moses wasn't allowed to, reach the promised land back then, if you know the story. But that's getting ahead of everything. All right, but we're just speaking about famous men, and we're talking about Moses at this time. All right. It says he sanctified him in his faithfulness and meekness, and he chose him out of all men. So he sanctified him in his meekness, man. I'm gonna read that again. He sanctified him in his faithfulness. So you have to have faith. So faith is what? A gift. All right, you got a lot of brothers that don't have faith in nothing. Or they get hot-headed, they jump to do something or whatever because they don't got the faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Even if you want something, man, and Yahweh Shem Yahushua don't give it to you because of what you want, it ain't up to you to want that. I mean, to get it. It's up to him to do it. That's why these men are who they are, man. That's why these men are who they are. I'm going to read that again. It says, he sanctified him in his faithfulness, in meekness, and chose him out of all men. So he chose Moses out of all men. His faithfulness and his meekness. You have to be able to care about the flock, the sheep. You don't know who the sheep are, man. When you walk up and down these streets, man, doing the work, doing the work is always doing the work, man. When you wake up in the morning, before you brush your teeth, you're doing the work, man. All right? Yahweh Shem Shabarakatah. You go out the door, you speak to this person, bid everybody to the marriage, man. And that's what these dudes was doing back then, man. They ain't had no cameras, man. The cameras is in the sky. But now, because we in what, 2019, about to be in 2020, yo, I gotta hop on the camera. I gotta so the elder, this person, that person see me. Nah, man. This thing is natural. It's supposed to flow through you. All right? It's supposed to flow through you. Examine yourself constantly to see if you in the faith or not. And that goes for myself first and foremost. All right? That goes for myself first and foremost. But we're acknowledging famous men in Israel and what they went through and what they had to go through to be those famous men. All right? It says, I'm going to read verse 4 again. It says, he sanctified him in his faithfulness and meekness, and chose him out of all men. He made him to hear his voice and brought him into the dark cloud. No, when he went to the dark cloud, what did he do? He went up to talk to Yahweh Shem Yahushua on Mount Sinai. So he did what? He went into a chariot to speak to him personally. Personally. Now you have brothers now, they don't understand why the Lord ain't dealing with them. Because they want that. They want the same thing as Moses had back in that day. And that's why if you read the story, you know, you will see like, damn man, this dude, they really was going at Moses, man. That's why they sat there and came at Joshua, because Joshua was number 2 to Moses. Not saying Joshua wasn't a man of the Lord. Not saying he wasn't a man of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know? But they came at Joshua because they thought that he was a weaker vessel. And what he do, he ordained for them to start building an idol for them to worship for Israel. While Moses was up on the mountain doing what he was supposed to do and get the law, statutes, and commandments. From what? Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know? That's why he's a famous man. That's why we're remembering the famous men. Because Moses is right back here on the earth today. And when Moses reaches the ultimate kingdom, the ultimate promised land, it ain't no going back from that. He wasn't able to reach what happened back then. You know, for the land of milk and honey and all that, but he knew it was coming. But he led his people. All right? It says, he sanctified him in his faithfulness and meekness and chose him out of all men. He made him to hear his voice and brought him into the dark cloud and gave him commandments before his face, even the law of life and knowledge, that he might teach Jacob his covenants and Israel his judgments, man. So it said, yo, he was face to face. Well, he was up there in the dark cloud. What's the dark cloud? That's them chariots, man. He was on there. Mount Sinai, he was on there, man. All right? Getting the instruction while people was down there jacking up, messing up, man. The same thing now. Brothers don't understand Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Racha Kwadash. They really don't. And if they think they do, man, yo, you better really examine yourself. You have to constantly examine yourself in this truth, man. You know? From the heads all the way down to the tail, or to the foot. And the real men is going to do that, man. You know? Everybody always want to give out rebuke, but they can't take the rebuke when it comes to them. Look at Yahweh Shah when he got rebuked, man. And, yo, he didn't say nothing. And I'm getting off the topic because we're remembering right now this famous man. So I'm going to keep it at that. But Moses, what he do? He was a prophet. He was a spokesman for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And his job was to do what it was, man. And he did it to the T. All right? He did it to the T. That's what we're supposed to do now. As men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Okay? It says he exalted Aaron, a holy man, like unto him, even his brother of the tribe of Levi. So, yo, Moses ain't trying to shit on Aaron. He was like, even with Aaron's faults or whatever, Moses ain't shit on him. He's like, yo, I need that brother. The Lord probably made me the head. But Aaron, I need him because we here. Like that whole Martin Lawrence shit, yo, we here. We hear it and all that. You know, that's Aaron and Moses, man. And even any other prophet. But we talking about Moses and Aaron, man. Which they were what? Great men. We're acknowledging great men, man, with this series. All right? Every great prophet has what? He has a right hand man. You ain't supposed to be out there by yourself, you know? But with any good thing, you always have Satan trying to come up against it and break it up. You always have that. Always. You know? But the Lord, Salakia, Satan can't break up nothing that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua puts out there to be made, man. To be made, like he wanted. You could always try to throw a monkey wrench in there, try stumbling block. But his men ain't going to trip over that. You know? And it's proving it right here. And what did Moses and Aaron do? Moses did to Aaron, he bigged him up. Like, yo, this is my brother. Hey, bro, this, that. Yo, he, you know, they probably got in each other's ass when they saw things wrong. But for the most part, they uplifted each other. They ain't trying to tear each other down, go backbiting, or none of that, man. You know? They ain't do none of that. All right? And these are famous men, men that we're supposed to read about because it was written for a time, it was written for our learning and for our understanding. All right? It says, let's go on. This is verse 7. It says, an everlasting, matter of fact, I'm going to go to verse 6 again. It says, he exalted Aaron and a holy man like unto him, even his brother of the tribe of Levi. An everlasting covenant he made with him and gave him the priesthood among the people. He beautified him with comely ornaments. He clothed him with the robe of glory. So the Lord looked out for him. He put upon him perfect glory and strengthened him with rich garments, with breeches, with the long robe, and the ephod. Which brothers know what that is. You know, you got the ephod on your chest, all the different stones of Israel. All right. It says, and he compassed him with pomegranates and with golden bells round about, that as he went there, Shalakia, that as he went there might be a sound, and a noise made that might be heard in the temple, for a memorial to the children of his people, with a holy garment, with gold and blue silk and purple, and Salakia, and purple the work of the embroiderer, with the breastplate of judgment, and with Urim and Thummim. All right? But yo, the Lord was looking out for him because he gave him the best of all things. You know? Purple represents what? Royalty. So whenever, even now, even to this day, man, and yo, you got certain judges, man, that broke things down. And they was like, yo, if you want to write a letter to this, that, you use purple ink. Why? Because purple is royalty. And we are royal people. Where do you think they get that from? All right? It says, with twixt scarlet, the work of the cunning workman, with precious stones graven like seals and set in gold, the work of the jeweler, with the writing engraved for a memorial after the number of the tribes of Israel. So that's talking about what? The ephod, right? So that's talking about all the different stones and jewels that the Lord made for our people. The representative or the tribe, your tribe, where do you think they get the birthstone from? That comes from Israel, man. Jacob is the former of all things. You know? Verse 12 says, he set a crown of gold upon Demetrius, wherein was engraved holiness, an ornament of honor, a costly work, the desires of the eyes, goodly and beautiful. So, yo, you do the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rachak or Das, what are you going to do? Give you the finest of the finest. Not to sell out. And none of these men, you know, these great men, these famous men in Israel sold out. You know? None of them sold out. They did the work. It's a lot. Verse 13 says, before him there were none such, neither did ever any stranger put them on, but only his children and his children's children, perpetually. So that's like, when you pass something down, you go to what, Psalms 49 and 11, and it talks about how their inward thought is that that the land is going to be named after them, and they're going to pass down things generation to generation. That's what we going to do. Why? Because they want to be us. When we get into the kingdom, man, we going to know, when we get back in rulership, it's a world without end. And that's what these famous men knew, you know? And every generation that these men had to come back in, they taught the same thing. Why? Because the faith, and they know, you know? Yo, we coming back and we going to be on top forever. You know? We going to be on top forever. It says their sacrifices shall be wholly consumed every day, twice continually. Moses consecrated him and anointed him with holy oil. This was appointed unto him by the everlasting covenant, and to his seed so long as the heavens should remain, that they should minister unto him and execute the office of the priesthood and bless the people in his name. He chose him out of all men living to offer sacrifices to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, incense and sweet savor, for a memorial to make reconciliation for his people. And that's what we do, you know? When we come out here on the highways and hedges and talk to the people, we are actually doing a sacrifice for our people. You know, because we know these people don't know what they're doing. And we know that they're going to come back in the kingdom in their right mind, but they don't believe that. We know that they are. You know? So you got to look at them. 2/3, all right, these are 2/3 doing it. All right, listen, I got to condemn you, but at the end of the day, I want you to get it. But if you don't get it, that's not up to me. That's up to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Racha Kwadash, to get it. You know? Our job is to do what the Lord said us to do, man. Bottom line, point blank, period. Okay? And that's what we're going to continue to do until all of our YouTube's accounts is shut down, until we off those highways and hedges. And even after that, we're still going to associate amongst each other. Because after that happens, that means the elect is sealed. They get it wholeheartedly. You know? But going on. And then that's why we got to remember what? Famous men in Israel. Because they did what? They did their job when the Lord raised them up to prophesy. They prophesied until the Lord shut them up. And then the destruction came in every different society. And that's why we're going over famous men right now. Because that's where we at. And all those famous men, guess what? They're right here, right now. Okay? It says, verse 17, he gave unto him his commandments and authority and the statutes of judgments, that he should teach Jacob the testimonies and inform Israel in his laws. So what are we doing? If I be one of those men, to inform and read that again. He gave unto him his commandments and authority in his statutes of judgments, that he should teach Jacob the testimonies and inform Israel in his laws. So that's what the famous men did back then. Even now. You know? It says strangers conspired together against him and malgradated him in the wilderness, even the men that were of Dathan's and Abiram's side, and the congregation of Kor, the fury and wrath, man. So you had people against them back then, and even men that was a part that knew that there was Israelites and all that, man. Why? Because they wanted that spotlight, that Salakia, that spotlight. They wanted to be the men or the man to lead Israel at that time. If the Lord ain't give it to you, he ain't give it to you. And any true man of the Lord, when he's given that title, he don't want that. Because he know that's with a burden, like, yo, I'd rather listen to this brother. I'm cool. I know he got the truth. He teaching it. I'll come up under him. I'm good. I don't want to be in the spotlight. But the Lord is what? He's gonna bring his men to the front, the front line, so to speak. He's gonna rise his men up. You know? They ain't just gonna try to boast themselves, you know, because you can't do that. You can't boast yourself. The Lord does all things, man. And any man of the Lord, is he 100%, I'll say, like, correct? Nah, man. Look at King David. He committed, I don't want to say adultery, but he had a woman's husband killed so he could be with her. That was going on. Look at King Solomon. Look at Solomon, man. And people fail to realize these things, man. Not saying they look at the Apostle Paul. These men, in their time, they was found perfect to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Racha Kodash. Why? Because he saw fit for it to happen. Because he saw him in the flesh, he put us in the flesh. All right? He put his men in the flesh. And why did he do that? For his own, like, he's the leader. You know? His thoughts are not our thoughts. You just better glory in the fact that you know the truth and treat your brother the way you want to be treated, just same way that these famous men did. All right? Verse 19, it says, this Yahweh Shemashah saw, and it displeased him, and in his wrathful indignation, where they consumed, he did wonders upon them to consume them with the fiery flame. But he made Aaron more honorable and gave him an heritage and divided into the first fruits of the increase, especially he prepared bread in abundance. So, Aaron was what? The first one to make it into what? The land of milk and honey, because Moses didn't get there at that time. But he still was a man of the Lord. You know? But the Lord consumed what? The 2/3 back then. And that's what we're trying to be now. What? The first fruits into the kingdom. The elect, man. It says the elect shall scarcely be saved. If you don't understand that concept, man, I don't know what's wrong with you. All right? It says, for they eat of the sacrifices of Yahweh Shem Shah, which he gave unto him and his seed. Howbeit in the land of the people he had no inheritance, neither had he any portion among the people. For Yahweh Shem Shah himself is his portion and his inheritance. The Lord is our portion and our inheritance. The third in glory and Phinehas, the son Phinehas, the son of Elzar, because he had zeal in the fear of Yahweh Shem Shah, and stood up with good courage of heart when the people were turned back, and made reconciliation for Israel. For therefore was there a covenant of peace made with him, that he should be the chief of the sanctuary and of his people, and that he and his prosperity should have the Shalak. It says he and his prosperity. Shalak, man. It says he and his prosperity should have the dignity of the priesthood forever, according to the covenant made with David, son of Jesse, of the tribe of Judah, that the inheritance of the king should be to his prosperity alone. So the inheritance of Aaron should also be unto his seed. The Most High give you wisdom in your heart to judge his people in righteousness, that their good things be not abolished, and that their glory may endure forever. All right? So we're supposed to what? Judge righteously. The same way our ancestors did. All right? You got brothers making unrighteous judgment. That's why you have to remember the famous men. What was written aforetime is for our learning and for our understanding. And never forget that. Never. Never forget the faults of your ancestors, and we're supposed to learn from them. And we're all in the flesh and not making any excuses for anything. But just know when you're rebuked, take it. You have to take it. You know? And with that, I hope that this part of the lesson was edifying. Hope it made sense, and you have to remember famous men and what they went through. Until the next lesson, I'm going to say Shalom and death to America. We almost home. Shalom.